Little Spooks.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Lexi. Welcome to the Guarded by Demons podcast, where we discuss all things horror.
I hope you're ready because we have a lot of spooky fun headed your way in October. Continuing our week-long countdown to Halloween is day 5. Today we are talking about nightmares with 2 special guests.
Hi, it's me, Loki, yet again. Hopefully with a better mic this time. Because the last time I was here, I recorded for Friday the 13th. I was in my sister's apartment on my laptop.
Hi, I'm Asia, and I am also a queer little spook. I'm non-binary, but I go by any pronouns, so, don't stress too much about that.
So many spooks here. I love it.
Okay, so I thought we would start off with, mostly, sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm. If I could, I want to share 2 in particular because I feel like they were very defining moments in my sleep paralysis experiences. I don't know what order we want to do this in, but yeah.
Oh, go for it. If you want to go first, you can go first.
Does anyone else want to go first? I don't want to just jump in like that.
Go ahead.
Knock yourself out. Go ahead.
So I do want to preface this by saying that, I'm a skeptic and I'm an atheist as well. But in the moment, I definitely, I went at the height of the peak of my sleep paralysis, hallucinations and everything. I definitely thought I was being possessed by demons or something like that, just because of the severity of my hallucinations. So the second hallucination I've ever had was really terrifying. I've had sleep paralysis my whole life, right, since I was a child. Mm-hmm. But I didn't start hallucinating until high school. And the second time I experienced hallucinations, I was in a toxic relationship, right? So the dream begins, I'm in my house getting ready to go to Disneyland with my family. And I'm just sitting in the living room. And this woman comes out from the side, and she's dressed like a pilgrim. And she's beckoning me with her finger, telling me to follow her. And I know that she's trying to seduce me. Oh. And I say, I look at her and I'm like, sorry, I have a girlfriend, so no. So she kind of just puts her hand down and she walks off to the side. And then not even a minute later, she comes back and she starts beckoning me again. And I'm like, no, I already told you, I have a girlfriend. So she leaves again to the other side. And then she comes back one more time, and she's naked. And when I tell you that this woman was a bombshell, talking hourglass figure, long flowing hair, and I was weak.
Weak for the sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah. Anyways, so I look at her and I'm just like, damn. I was like, well, I knew I was dreaming at this point, so I was like, it doesn't hurt. I'm just dreaming. So
valid.
So I take her hand and she guides me to my room, and we start getting intimate y todo eso. And as I'm kissing her and my lips start moving down her body, I notice that her skin starts turning into scales the lower I go. What? And I look at her feet and they're talons. And I'm
oh God.
Yeah. So I turn and look at her face, and she's kind of just frozen and twitching, not the sexy kind of twitching, but just the agony type of twitching. Yeah, just the agony type of twitching. And I'm like, oh God, I messed up. I messed up. And it's so weird because I didn't wake up. It was I was watching a screen, and it was transitioning to a different, it was dissolving, one of those cheap PowerPoint transitions. Yeah, and it started fading into my room, at night, so it was pure dark. And I couldn't move, and I was in sleep paralysis. And at this point, I knew what sleep paralysis was, and I was I knew I shouldn't have trusted that bitch. Fuck, that's what I get for being a fucking whore. And so I'm stuck there, and I see her face above me, but half of her face is melted off. Think Two-Face from The Dark Knight. That's how her face was on one side, except her eyeball had melted off. And this black cloud starts engulfing her face. And
Well
at the same time, I start hearing like this demonic voice coming from the back of my head. It sounded like it was coming from like a staticky radio, and it was just like just like this growling sound. And this is all happening at once. Like, like I wake up and this is like all just suddenly like happening to me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because at this point, like, I've only had one other hallucination and sleep paralysis for it, and it wasn't even scary. I just kept seeing myself get up from bed, and then I wasn't, So yeah, it was a pretty quick like turnaround of what was going on. And I started praying. At this point, like, I had stopped going to church. I told my mom I didn't believe in God and todo eso. But I started praying the Our Father, and I kept forgetting the words because it had been so long since I'd gone to church. So I'd be like, Our Father who art in heaven. Fuck, what was the word? So I started it again. I was like, Our Father who art in heaven. Y todavía, like, I still couldn't go all the way through because I kept forgetting the words. And then finally, I get through the whole prayer, and everything stops. Like the cloud is gone, her face is gone, the sound, the voice stops, and I can move my body. And that was the second time I ever hallucinated.
Jesus fucking Christ.
my God.
Yeah, and I remember even thinking after everything stopped, and I was like, whoa, that was crazy. Still don't believe in God though. And I just like turned around and went back to sleep.
You're in a mood. Well, that was fucking weird. Knocks out again.
Yeah, literally. I was just like, well, how zany, how kooky.
Damn, you were almost a monster fucker.
I was a monster fucker. We were fucking, but then and then years later, I'm in college, and I'm doodling in class. I never paid attention. And I suddenly think like, oh, you know what? I want to draw this one specific monster, but I need like a reference photo, right? So I Googled this monster to try and get references. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? I don't really know the story behind these monsters, so I want to read about it. And that's how I learned that a succubus visited me that night.
That's what I was thinking, was a succubus. That's fun.
So I read that like succubuses, like succubi, anyways, they visited men or gays in the middle of the night, seduced them, and then they woke up in sleep paralysis. And I was just like, damn. And again, I'm a skeptic and I'm an atheist, so I don't really believe that like, a demon came and did that. But I'm like, it's so crazy that I experienced what people like in the medieval ages would be like calling random people witches for,
Yeah.
So that's mine. I can wait, like let someone else tell their story before I tell my second one.
I could go.
Mhm.
I've also suffered like with sleep paralysis since I was a kid. But obviously, as a kid, I didn't know that's what it was.
Yeah.
And back in the day, when I was a kid, this was like in my old apartment, so I was still probably like in elementary school. I would say maybe like 4th or 5th grade. And this was back in the day when obviously I would still go to church a lot with my grandma and stuff. And I think around the time when I was also doing like my first communion. And I just remember falling asleep, but then out of nowhere, and I used to sleep with a nightlight, and then out of nowhere seeing sort of like a flash of red. And I was like, what the fuck? And then next thing you know, I couldn't move, I couldn't speak, and and I had closed my eyes, so I was auditory hallucinating. And I just remember hearing the sounds like a bunch of flames, like if something was on fire, and a bunch of people screaming in pain. And I was just like, this is what my grandma warned me about, like I'm fucking being dragged to hell for whatever reason.
Oh no.
And obviously as a kid I'm panicking. And I'm like, what the fuck did my grandma say? And I also start praying Our Father, but I if I remember correctly, I started doing it in Spanish. Because all the time when I was a kid, I went to church and it was Spanish church. And then I remember, I think I was like maybe halfway or almost done with the prayer, and I remember hearing like this deep voice, this gravelly voice saying to me to pray louder, then laugh evilly, and as soon as I was done, the sleep paralysis finished. And I remember just sitting up, being so fucking scared, I just started bawling my eyes out in my bed. That shit fucking stuck to me, and it wasn't until I was older I was like, oh, that was sleep paralysis. But as a kid, I'm like, oh no, a devil was trying to fucking come and just take me in the
Yeah.
middle of the night. I was so fucking scared. I remember getting off of my bunk bed and like going to my mom and dad and be like, can I sleep with you guys? I'm so scared right now. That shit fucked me up as a kid. I was like, I need to start going to church more.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeez.
I think part of it is like, a lot of us, like especially Latinx folks, are like raised in very religious households, and a lot of that trauma like gets
Yeah.
embedded into us
Yeah.
subconsciously. And especially being queer, like, I would hear a lot of, homophobic rhetoric in church, which is one of the biggest reasons why I stopped going.
Mm-hmm.
So
Understand.
yeah, that's why I was pissed that the Our Father worked during my
You're like, fuck.
This was
Shit.
work.
This is the exact opposite of what I wanted to happen.
Yeah,
Maybe be gay and do crime.
literally.
Please.
So I have a shit ton from when like I was a kid, but the one that I could mainly remember is we we had like just gone to bed. Like I think I had barely gotten like my first like ever, I guess, like big girl bed. But I still wanted to sleep like in my parents' bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my dad like I don't want to sleep in my own bed right now. And he's like, no, like you have to. Like you're old enough to do that. So like they just forced me to go to sleep in my own bed, and I remember initially like I guess falling asleep, but it didn't feel like I fell asleep because I like blinked and I was still in bed, but I couldn't move at all. And I just remember like looking in the corners of the corners of my bed. And the thing is, like, my bed was towards the wall, and then my parents' bed was like across the room. And I would look like under their bed because they had that space, and I also had that space. And I could see like little eyes glowing, like yellow little eyes under their
No.
bed. And
Uh,
I was like trying to like scream for my mom and dad to like wake up because I did not know what the heck was what it was. And I tried moving and I couldn't move, and that got me like really really scared, and to the point where I saw like fingers, like bony fucking fingers, like come up from the side of my bed, but it was towards the wall. So I was like, what is going on? Because like you would think, like my brain thought like, oh, it's gonna come from the other side. No, it's coming from towards the wall. So I was like terrified. Like I wanted to move my hand, but I couldn't move anything. And then when I was distracted by the hand coming from the wall, I didn't see anything popping up from the other side. And it wasn't until that like I felt something, like I felt, I guess, like warm air hit like the side of my face, that I turned around
No.
and I saw this like weird ass like skeleton demon thing like looking at me.
Ugh.
Like it looked like a rotting corpse.
Ugh.
That's what it fucking looked like. It looked like a rotting corpse. It had like no eyes. It, you know what it reminded me of? Like I recently rewatched Creepshow. It reminded me of the dad.
the dad?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this show, so or the movie.
So like with how like skeleton it was, it reminded me of him with like his decomposing body. But the thing is, like it had horns on its head.
Hell.
So I did not understand that. Like, to this day I still don't understand it, but I could not like move or anything. But the thing is, the thing that woke me up was my dad, because he looked terrified, and he was the one that told me that it sounded like I was choking in my sleep.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I have. Do you have anything?
I've never had sleep paralysis before. I hope I never do.
It's a trip. Like nowadays, I could tell when I'm gonna have sleep paralysis, because then I'll actually start remembering like some part of my dream, and my dream will slowly turn to a nightmare. And like even my dream self, I'm like, fuck, I'm about to get sleep paralysis. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've had sleep paralysis since I was a kid, but like it was very consistent in college, and it got to the point where I'm very good at controlling my dreams now because yeah, I just become fully aware in like dream
you
mode.
just dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like control everything, but I'll be like, "Oh, I'm dreaming right now, so it doesn't matter what I do here or
Yes.
something."
I
Like that.
think
Or sometimes I can even force myself to wake up.
becoming aware that you're dreaming is just lucid dreaming, so you're fine.
Yeah.
And you can
Mhm.
you do have some control, but I don't think you can control everything.
Yeah.
Which I can lucid dream, but I've never had sleep paralysis.
Yeah, so I can go on to my next one. Yeah, like I said, I've had many sleep paralysis in between this one and the one I mean, the first one I mentioned, the one I'm gonna talk about now, and like after. I've also had like the feeling of breath on my neck before.
Mhm.
So one time, at this point I'm in college. This is my second year of college, and you know I'm home for the weekend, and I'm talking to my older sibling, and I'm telling them like, you know what's weird? I've never had sleep paralysis outside of my room, like outside of my room here in Los Angeles. Like I've slept over like so many friends' house. I've been at my dorm like for 2 years now, and I've never had sleep paralysis there. And they told me, like, I didn't want to tell you this because I didn't want to scare you, but I haven't had sleep paralysis since I moved out. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? So like it's my house, right? Um and so I was like, okay, whatever. So I go to sleep and I wake up in sleep paralysis in my dorm. So I'm like, so I can get it outside of my house, right? So
Ew.
I'm lying down on my bed and my bed faces like the door in the hallway. Um and the light is always on because you know it's a dorm and people are coming in and out, partying and all that good stuff. So I'm stuck in my dorm and I see like shadows passing under the door, like people walking to their rooms and all that. And at this point, you know, I'm not scared of sleep paralysis anymore. I'm used to it. Um, and my friend who would often sleep over my dorm, um, he's standing there, like just staring at me. And I try to speak, but you know, I can't. But I'm like, Caesar, like I can't move right now. I'm asleep paralysis. And I like blink and he's like sitting in my roommate's bed and he's just like sitting there staring at the wall. By the way, the lights are off, so it's creepy, right? Like,
Fucking Blair Witch Project.
yeah, I was like, what the
Ew.
fuck is he doing?
No.
Like, you know, like just moving. I'm like, whatever. And I blink again and he's gone. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I was just hallucinating him. And then at my I start like hearing knocking on my door. And I'm like, oh shit, like my roommate probably forgot his key, but I can't get up and open the door for him because I'm in sleep paralysis. So
Yeah.
I try to yell out like Nick, I can't open the door for you. But like I can't, you know sleep paralysis, I can't really speak too loud. So I'm just like
Mhm.
Nick, like, you know, trying my best. And like so I'm like, oh well, like there's nothing I can do. But then the banging starts getting louder. Like it starts like shaking the door like bam 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 bam. And I'm just like, oh shit, that's not my roommate. Like it's another hallucination, right? I'm like, oh shit. And like it starts banging the door so hard that like it like kind of bursts open a little, but that chain is still holding the door closed, right? And this black arm like comes out like around and starts flailing like crazy. And I'm saying like this arm like looks so black, like it looks like an abyss, like it looks like
Like
you
a
would get
void.
lost, yeah, like a void. And it just flailing everywhere trying to find like the chain and like break it open so it could open, you know, like turn around. And I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, like it is getting really close to opening that door and like I don't know what the hell it's gonna do to me. um so like I'm over here like forcing my body, like, you know, using all the strength in me just to turn over. And once I finally do, I'm facing my wall in my room at home in Los Angeles.
What the
Oh,
fuck?
Oh my
no.
god.
And I'm like, this motherfucking brain of mine, right? Like,
Jesus.
you really had to like go and bamboozle me into thinking like that I can get sleep paralysis outside of here, but it's just like, haha, you thought, like, you know? And even now, like, it's been like 7 years since that one. I still have never had sleep paralysis outside of this room.
I hate that for you.
Yeah, and I mean, I've learned now that I think the source of my sleep paralysis is stress, and yeah, and growing up, this wasn't the most healthy environment, especially for a child.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's partially why I get sleep paralysis a lot here. It's tricked me in other ways before. At times it's tricked me into thinking it's my mom, like the hallucination. And at other times it's pretended to be Eddie, my boyfriend, too. It's been weird.
Oh no, I don't like that.
No thank. What's the most recent you've had sleep paralysis?
About like a month ago.
Jeez.
Yeah, I had a dream that I was a princess. I was like it was one of those, like one of those comics, those webtoons where like the person wakes up and they're in like they wake up as a princess even though they were like an ordinary girl before.
Yeah.
It was one of those dreams. I had a dream that I woke up like as a princess, like I was reincarnated, but I was like a warrior princess type person.
Mm-hmm.
And the ancestors of that princess were trying to, they've been revived. And so they were like, restless spirits, evil spirits. And they were trying to kill me to take my throne. And so I was told, like, hey, if you see these spirits, like, be wary of them, kill them before they can kill you. So throughout my whole dream, I had to keep looking over my shoulder and I would see like an evil ghost and I'd have to slay it. And at one point, I was just tired because it was constant, like these like ghosts following me, that I forced myself to wake up. And then, yeah, I had an hallucination that there was like this knight, like corpse knight person, like shadow walking slowly like towards me. And while I was in sleep paralysis, but just the usual sleep paralysis shadow demon.
Gross. So we have a cat now. That's why Kimberly was giggling because he's wiggling around. He being a baby.
Yeah, my cousin has sleep paralysis too, and she says that like her cat like will sometimes like notice her like struggling and just like bite her face and it breaks her out of it.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Jesus, smart kitty.
Yeah.
It's an extreme pinch. Wake up!
Who wants to go next?
This is very weird because this is like a combination of sleep paralysis and at the time I was really, really sick.
Oh god!
I had a fever. This was when I was a kid, and I remember the fever getting to a point where I actually had to be at the hospital for a while.
Oh no!
It got really bad. But I remember being in bed. I remember being so sweaty, and it was around Halloween time. I remember like October-ish. So I was already kind of on edge as a kid, because I'm like, oh, okay, I get scared of everything kind of easily as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I think like a week before we had submitted scary stories or whatever in class. And I remember I had made mine about an astronaut who unfortunately like died in space and was like haunting space now. And anytime another astronaut went out, he would come by as a warning,
Mm-hmm.
And it was, again, I had a bunk bed until like maybe high schoolish. So I remember looking down where my TV was on the floor, and the TV was all staticky, and I was like, "That's fucking weird. Like they shouldn't be static on the TV. At best, it should probably be like Adult Swim because it was midnight." And I remember having that spirit that of the astronaut that I made for my story crawl out of the TV, followed by La Llorona, which was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. And then I also started hallucinating that a bunch of kids that I knew, like from my classmates at school, were like singing and dancing around me, like holding hands, like sort of like a ring around the rosies. And I was like, what the fuck? I was just like, what's happening? And I'm sweating. I feel like shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? And I remember trying to hide under my covers, but the fact that I also had a fever at the time, I was like, I will literally suffocate myself up in here. I don't remember how I got out of it. I just remember I just remember the next thing I was like in a hospital bed having medicine given to me. Like I don't remember much of anything else other than like the kids laughing and seeing those two spirits just kind of hanging there in my room, and I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah, next thing you know, I'm in a hospital, and I was like, huh? What happened? How did I get from point A to point B here?
What the fuck? Okay. Jesus.
Yeah. Fever dreams plus sleep paralysis, 0 to 10 do not recommend.
Oh, that's not a good combination at all.
I said I missed it. Had to let my cat out. It's okay. I'll hear it back later on the podcast.
Sorry, my dog was barking, so I had to go and grab her.
You're fine. It's all good.
The baby.
Now she's staring at me all guilty because she knows she's being bad.
Little baby. Yeah.
Are you gonna share another one?
Okay, why don't we just share like regular nightmares?
That I can do. That I can do. Unfortunately, my nightmares are not very fun. Also, your computer's unplugged.
I mean, I don't think nightmares are supposed to be fun.
Fun in a paranormal way. It's too. Mine are realistic, which sucks.
I can't really recall any nightmares I've had, but I do have dreams of people who passed away, if that counts.
I've had dreams like that too.
That does count.
Okay.
So, for context, I have a dog. He's right here on the couch behind us. His name is Jaeger. He's a big old baby. He's like half hound, half what they think Doberman. And he's a big love bug. He runs up to everybody whenever you come visit. He loves giving kisses and everything. One time I had a dream that I guess it was me, my mom, and my dog. We were all staying at like a pet-friendly hotel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'd taken my dog, Jaeger is his name, out for a walk, and he saw a police officer and got really, really excited to go say hi. He literally broke free of me. Actually, again, this is just a dream, I promise. But he ran up to the cop, and the cop immediately shot him in the head, and I woke up so sad.
Oh, hell
my God.
no.
I literally had to bring Jaeger into my bedroom to make sure he was okay. I was crying. I was not happy. This shit made me so sad.
This reminded me of a nightmare.
Oh no. Not another nightmare, dude. No.
No, because I had a dream that I was being chased by like this demon. I could barely see it because it moved so quickly. And I was just running and running and running. And I got so scared. And I woke up, and the thing is, like, I also wear very strong glasses. I don't have very good vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up, and I like see this like black shadow just like attacking my little poodle. So I throw myself on the ground, and I grab my poodle like out of the clutches of that shadow demon. Turns out it was my chihuahua.
Oh my God.
The thing is, my mom had popped a water bottle, and my chihuahua is scared of like fireworks and like loud noises.
Oh,
So she
uh-huh.
ran. Yeah, she ran, and my poodle, like, I don't know why she doesn't like it when she runs away. Like, so she started like chasing after her, and then self-defense, my chihuahua started like fighting back, and like she was winning. So, so like. Yeah, I had pulled my poodle thinking that like a demon was like grabbing her, like the demon from my nightmare. And I was confused when I realized. I was like, "Oh shit, it's just my other baby." And then yeah.
Vicious.
But I was like, that just goes to show you that I will literally throw myself at a demon to save my dogs.
Dogs are great, dude. Dogs are great.
Babe.
Hell yeah, dogs are great.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's napping. He's doing a big old snooze. Hey, baby. You have nightmares on the regs, don't you, Kimberly?
I do. I do, and I hate them. But the thing is, it's like I've had them since I was a kid. Like either they're like constant, or it's weird because sometimes they end up continuing. And
Next
it's like,
night, yeah.
Like last
like,
week on.
like they end up continuing either like a week apart or like a day apart, or sometimes it's like the next night. And it's the weirdest shit ever, because like Lexi pointed out the other time when I was telling her about some of my like dreams and like nightmares, that they're so detailed.
They're scarily detailed, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell is going on with your brain, but like your nightmares are so eerie.
Yeah, I mean, like my dad told me like it's probably because like you have a big imagination or something. I have no fucking clue, but they are very detailed sometimes, like to the point where like I can like smell things, feel things, like hear things, and it's like it's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like the earliest ones that I can remember that I've had was just me walking like in downtown LA. And this was when I was like a little kid. And I remember that it was around the time that I would kind of like wake up when my mom would go to work, and my dad would take her to work like around 5 or 4 in the morning. And I remember like waking up because like they were making noise, but I do remember like falling back asleep. And the next thing I know, like I'm in downtown LA and I'm like walking around. It's night, and the only thing that's like lighting up anything is the street lights, like the dim like yellow ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep hearing like a tapping type of sound, and it's like those, you know, like those jump ropes that they had in like elementary school.
Oh, with the plastic?
Yeah, those plastic ones. Like that's what I kept hearing like hitting the floor, and I was like, what is that? So I kept like trying to follow where it was. And when I finally like got to the point where it was, all I saw was like this other little girl in the middle of the street just like playing jump rope.
I freaking
But
knew
she
you were
wasn't
gonna say that.
like,
I was
but she
thinking
wasn't.
of the little girls saying 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4.
Gross.
You always got to think about like Freddy Krueger, honestly, when like little girls show up.
No, thank you.
But like I remember walking towards her, but she wasn't facing me, and it wasn't until I like put my hand on her shoulder that she turned around, and she had this like really gross face. Like her eyes were all black, her teeth were like super sharp, and she like screamed at me. And I remember like my dad rushing into the room because he had just gotten back from taking my mom to work, and that takes like a good hour. And he was like, wait, like you need to wake up, like there's nothing wrong, because apparently when he got into the house I was like screaming.
Oh shit.
And I remember I was telling him like the something about like the little girl, like she's trying to like get me, and my dad's like, no one's trying to get you, like you're home, you're nowhere else. That shit was like pretty scary.
I was like, I know I've had a lot of nightmares, but I guess like I don't really care about them too much because they're not too interesting to me, so I like forget. But I do have dreams a lot of like, you know, my pets that have died, my 5th grade teacher that died, my grandma who passed away. But every time my grandma would appear in my dreams, I would forget that she had died. And so I'd just be like hanging out with my grandma. And every time I remembered, I'm like, wait, like you're not really here, like you're supposed to be dead. She would look at me all sad, like, damn, like you shouldn't have realized that, because now I have to go. Like she just like gave me like this really sad smile. And like I somehow couldn't get to her anymore. Like I'd be coming out of a car, like we had just like we were driving, and like we had just parked, and like I got out of the car, and when I realized that and I looked back, my grandma was like still sitting in the car giving me that smile. And like I couldn't open the door anymore, and I'd be like crying. I'd be like, grandma, like let me in, like don't go. I'd be like sobbing and things like that. I'm the only one in my house that dreamt of my grandma. I like literally asked everybody, and like nobody else dreamt of her, even though she lived here for like many, many years. But yeah. And there was this one really weird one where another thing. I dreamt of my cousin's dead cat. It was her favorite cat, and like I was up in the balcony, like on the second floor of the apartment, and I saw her cat run down the stairs, and I'm looking at my cousin. I'm just like, dude, that was Toby. Like she's looking, and she's like, I don't see her, and I'm like, she's right there, but she didn't see her. So I went like started running after her, after the cat. And I remember as I was getting to the bottom of the stairs, this giant tiger leaps out and like attacks me and like pins me to the floor. And I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, and I start getting really scared, and like I know I have to kill this tiger or else it's gonna kill me. And I start crying because I don't want to kill this tiger, right? And but eventually I don't know, I find this like really sharp stick and I stab it through the chest of the tiger. And then it looks at me all sad, and suddenly it looks very weak and decrepit. Like it looks like an old tiger suddenly. Like it was like this strong, young, healthy one, but suddenly after I stabbed it, it's like very frail and old. And there's water rising in my backyard. It starts looking like a pond. There's like plants growing and everything too. And it just like walks into the water and like until like it goes, it's like completely submerged in the water. And I'm still crying and crying because I didn't want to kill the tiger. And all of a sudden I feel all these like things like appear in my mouth, and I start spitting them out, and it's like fangs of the tiger.
Oh,
my God.
Like holding like a bunch of tiger teeth like in my hands, and I'm like, what the fuck? Anyways, that was a really weird dream. But yeah, it all started because I was chasing after my cousin's dead cat.
Jesus.
Dang, dude. Why'd you kill that tiger, though? I'm so sorry. Oh, gosh. It just, like, your first dream reminded me of... And again, it's not really a nightmare, per se. But, I guess this was around... almost 10 years ago now. My babysitter's husband, he was like a second dad to me. He taught me how to swim. I could swim before I could walk completely. So he taught me how to swim, and we spent a lot of time together. He was really sweet. And I remember he died like the night of like a Halloween party we'd held at my house. And I remember the next May, I had a dream where and I was having a really hard time. I literally had to go to counseling because I missed him so much. But I remember I had a dream where he showed up at my house, like he showed up in my kitchen, and we were going to spend the day together. And like it had like a mini montage of like, and he knew he had a limited time to spend time with me. So, and I distinctly remember that we set the timer on my oven. And so it cued like a montage of us like having fun together, like swimming in the pool that was at their house, and just doing a few other things that I can't really remember because it's been so long now. But I remember I was crying because I knew the time was getting ready to run out when he came. Like we were back in my kitchen, and I was crying and I was hugging him, and I could feel how warm he was. I remember that, and I remember he was wearing one of his favorite camouflage hats, and I think he was wearing a greenish gray shirt and some, I don't remember if they were camo pants or jeans. It's fuzzy. But I remember like some random light shining down into my kitchen, and he was like, I'll see you again soon. And then like it flashed like kind of like a movie does to the clock, and it counted down like to the timer, and it counted down 3, 2, 1, and then I woke up.
I woke
up crying.
That a dead person would be like, see you soon. It's like, what do you mean?
How soon?
I was like, that came across, that I thought about that too. I was like, what do you mean? I didn't know if he meant he was gonna visit me or if I was gonna fucking die, but like I think it was like he was gonna visit me because it was like not in a mean, scary way. It was just I'll see you again soon, like it's saying like see you later, kinda. And I woke up crying. I was inconsolable the rest of the day.
Still, it's kind of like concerning though, because it's like, still, I know you like mean it in like a good way, like a calming way, but that's still kind of like, am I gonna die soon? Like, is that what you mean?
But yeah, no. If I think about it hard enough, I do get a little emotional about it. I still miss him.
Oh yeah, no, I don't doubt that.
God.
Every time I dream about someone who's passed away, even like pets, I wake up with like that tired feeling in my chest as if I had been sobbing for so much.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
You just want to sleep the rest of the day.
I've had times where I've woken up crying, but for the love of God, I cannot tell you what I was thinking about. I just remember waking up fucking sobbing and crying, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Those suck.
That must be very confusing. It's like, hey,
why am I crying? Why am I crying?
Why am I sad?
It's like I'm always crying in dreams, but when I wake up, like, no, I never have like tears or anything. Just that tired feeling in my chest.
Yeah, makes you wonder if you were to record yourself while you were asleep, if you were crying in your sleep.
Oh, that's another thing. I've never had sleep paralysis around other people.
Weird.
Yeah, I've had it around other people.
Yeah, do they notice?
You know what? No, because I've had it like a couple times in front of my partner, Chris, and sometimes it's at his house sometimes sleep paralysis happens even when I just try to take a nap, which fucking sucks.
Oh, I hate that.
And like I'll be at his house and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna take a nap because I'm tired, and then he'll be in the room with me too, and then I'll try to get his attention, but obviously I know at this point I can't. But I'm like maybe somehow, but he doesn't notice it, and then I'll wake up, and he says I look just like kind of out of it, and he's like, you good? I'm like, I had a sleep paralysis moment. He's like, I didn't fucking realize it. He's like, you were twitching, but like sometimes he says sometimes like even when I'm regularly sleeping, like I move around a lot anyway. So he's like, it's hard to tell the difference because I always apparently just naturally mumble in my sleep, and I move around a lot in my sleep. So he's like, I can't tell the difference.
My freaking boyfriend is such a heavy sleeper. I feel like he would not notice. Because I remember one time I could only move my neck. Like the rest of my body was paralyzed, but I could only move my neck. So I was just moving my head back and forth. And I was like, you know what? Thank God nobody's here, like sleeping with me, because they would be freaked out of me just turning my head over and over.
Yeah.
But because freaking one time, like, long story short, we were cat sitting for my friends. And I was chasing these cats in the middle of the night because like they were getting crazy trying to attack each other. Freaking Eddie slept through it all.
Oh my God.
It was in this, like they were pouncing on the bed. They were like screaming. And I was over here like putting them in their cages and all this and all that. And like he slept like nothing. And I was like, you fucking asshole.
Damn.
That's not surprising.
Damn.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, one time he slept over at my place. And he was grinding his teeth in his sleep, and it woke me up because I'm such a light sleeper. So like
my partner does that too.
Grinding. Yeah, I woke up and I just like grabbed his face, and then because I was half asleep, I didn't really know what the right thing to do was. I just like grabbed his face, and he woke up, and I was like, "You're grinding your teeth. Stop it!" And he's like, "Okay." He just like turned around and went back to sleep. He did stop grinding his teeth though, so you're welcome, Eddie. If I could share another sleep paralysis story.
Sure.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool. So I had a dream. I was a friend had invited me over and was like, "Hey, like I just bought a new house. You should come check it out." And I was like, "Oh, dude, for sure." So I show up, and he starts giving me a tour. He's like, "Yeah, this is the kitchen. This is the living room. Whatever." And he's like, "Come upstairs. I need to show you something." And he's like, "This is where the previous owner died." And I was like, "Bro, what the fuck? Like, no, don't be inviting me over to your house to like some murder house. Like, I don't want to be in this shit." Like, I rebuked him.
Oh my God.
Like, I was getting mad. I was like, "Why the fuck would you invite me? I wouldn't have come if you told me that shit." Like,
Yeah.
And at this point, like, he had just gone like stoic. Like, his face was serious and blank, and he just like staring at me without blinking. And he's like, sometimes I still see him in here, and he turns the lights on and off. And I'm just like, fuck you, man. I'm just yelling at him at this point. I was like, fuck you. Like, I wouldn't have come here. Like, rah. And, like, I wake up in sleep paralysis. But my room looks so pretty. Like, the window is open. Like, my curtains are pushed aside. And, like, this sunbeam is coming through the window. And there's, like, glitter, like, falling through, like, the sunbeam. And it just looks so beautiful. Like, the wind is blowing softly against my curtains. So they're just flowing. And I'm staring at this and I'm like, yeah, I'm in sleep paralysis, but this is fine. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. So, yeah, I was like, wow, this looks really nice. Like, I'm fine just staying awake a little bit, just staring at this. But then I start feeling that breathing on my neck, the one I mentioned earlier. I start feeling breathing on my neck and I just hear, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, like over and over again. And every time they say turn around, like it's just like puffing air at the back of my neck. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I thought it was going to be nice for once. So, yeah, I flip over. Ooh, I don't know what that noise is.
Sorry.
So that's okay. So I flip over finally, and I wake up for real this time, and it's the middle of the night. Like, it's just completely dark in my room, and I'm just like, me, not this again.
At these crap again.
These damn demons and their little tricks.
Like there's another thing that I've noticed with like a theme with my dreams, that there's always like shadow people in my dreams.
No, thank you.
In your dreams?
Yeah.
I only ever see them outside.
Well, not like
hallucinations.
Yeah, but like not like also like in my dreams. Like I've noticed that's a thing that happens in my dreams. But like it's also happened like outside, like when I'm just awake, like daily life type of thing.
Oh no.
Do you ever, this is a random question, do you ever have a dream of like it's a shadow figure, but he's kind of wearing a top hat?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now. I was thinking about that. Okay,
Yeah.
but the thing is, this happened in 2019 because I remember this dream because I remember talking to my friend about it. It was in my room. However, my room was a mirror of my room, right?
Yeah.
Usually I have a door that leads into a little hallway and then a door that leads to the backyard. The door that led to the hallway was gone. There was no door there. There was no curtains and I could see the outside, and the door to go out back was open. But when I looked outside, it was nothing but space. And the guy was standing at the door in his suit and his big hat or whatever.
Yeah,
and
the
he
top
was
hat.
talking to me. But all I saw was his lips moving. And I was just like, I was laying on my bed and I was like, I can't, like, I could see you talking, but I can't hear you. And I was just like, what the fuck? And he stood like near me by the side of my bed. And like, I asked him like, oh, can you sit on the bed? Like maybe if you get closer, like I could hear you. And he didn't respond, but I just remember sitting up to get closer to him. Cause I was just like, I can't hear what you're trying to tell me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But like he looked at me for a while and then he walked out into like the vast of space and I was just like, what? And I tried to get up and I tried to follow him, but as I tried to like leave the door to go out, I couldn't. Like I was just stuck in my room. And then he was just gone. And I woke up and I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, move, man. You don't ask them shadows people to get closer to you. What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I'm like, I've heard top hat. I've never seen him. All my years of sleep paralysis, never. But I've heard of, and I think it's crazy because like it's across the world that people like have the same hallucination.
Yeah.
Who is he? And I'm like, I'm assuming like across cultures too. So I'm like, what is it that's wired in our like brain that makes us?
I'd love to watch Sam and Colby's stuff about the Shadow Man.
Oh, we can do that later.
For sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it says that on YouTube. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Sam and Colby are a pair of paranormal investigators. We watch them a lot. They're posting right now. I think they did some stuff over in the UK right now. So I think they're going to be in Ireland. They post every Sunday, I believe, at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Very, very spooky of them.
Yeah, they always post at weird times, like at 1:40 in the afternoon or some shit like that.
Wait,
It's
so
like-
have you ever tried astral projecting?
I don't want to because I know it can give you sleep paralysis.
No, actually, sleep paralysis is the starting point.
Oh,
Or
I don't
at
want to.
well, for the folks here who have had sleep paralysis, have you attempted astral projecting?
I have not.
No.
Just like walking out of your own body, basically. No
Yeah,
thanks.
I kind of did twice. It wasn't full on astral projection. I wasn't out there like exploring the cosmos or anything. But it's because I was talking to my friend. He's the one that told me about it. Because he was like, "Oh my god, you have sleep paralysis." I was like, "Hell yeah, dude!" And he's like, "Dude, you need to try." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, that's the first step. You just gotta keep trying." And I was like, "Damn, okay." So he told me two things. He told me one, like I could astral project, and two, that I could get rid of those shadow demons. Like you just have to like use your astral light or some shit, and to like get rid of them. And yeah, both times that I've had astral projection, I experienced both of these situations. So the first time, I am in sleep paralysis, and I remember I'm like, oh shit, this is what Jorge was talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and try to astral project. So I was like, I want to go to space. That's what I want to do. I want to like fly across space. So I started trying to like leave my body. Dude, that shit was so hard. I started hearing this loud ringing in my ear, and like like if you notice right now, you can see your nose, you can see your mouth, even though like you're staring out, right? Like,
Yeah.
your nose, you see like your face and everything. I didn't see any of that. It was like a perfect like screen, like nothing in my vision except like what was in front of me, and the walls in my room started to like fall apart, and I could see space, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking do it. And like I sit up, like I as far as I got was I could sit up, and then it was just so tiring that I gave up. I was like, ah, like that was too much. And yeah, everything went back to normal, and I was like, damn it. But I was so close. The second time, yeah, there was like a shadow person like pinning me down into my bed, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to that light thing. And it takes the same amount of strength to just try and break out of sleep paralysis to like lift your little astral arms out. And it was like this noodly. Y'all ever seen Donnie Darko?
It's been a while.
It's also been a while.
Yeah.
I haven't,
Well,
but I know what you're talking about.
that scene with the arms coming out of people's chests.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what was happening, because it was like made of light, and I was just like slowly whacking the shadow demon with it. Took so much strength, and it was like so slow, and it just like slowly faded out. And as soon as it faded out, I could move again. Those are the only two times I've tried, because it was just exhausting.
See, I'm scared that if I tried astral projecting, I wouldn't be able to get back in my own body.
Well, again, I'm a skeptic and I'm an atheist, so I don't really think it was like I was actually going to leave my body. I thought it was more just like I'm training my brain to like make myself see these images, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like lucid dreaming basically, except like choosing where I get to go and all that.
I do have a couple of other dreams, both having to do with paranormal investigating. Funny enough. So one, there's this girl I watch on YouTube. Her name is Loie Lane. She's precious. I love her. I love her so much. But I had a dream that I was on an investigation with her and her friend Haley, and like I can't remember which one was holding it, but one of them was holding like an EMF reader and stuff like that. I think one of them had a ghost box. But I remember distinctly that we walked past, like, there's the living room window, and there's a pretty tall bush in front of the window. And I looked into the window, like, just not in a creepy way, just like see inside the window, and there was a rocking chair in front of a fireplace, and like this place was not abandoned per se, but it was more like You could come here if you wanted to do like a ghost investigation if you wanted to. And there was a woman in black Victorian clothing, like she was grieving. And there was actually fire in the fireplace. She was sitting in the rocking chair. And then she slowly turned her head to look out the window at me. And she had like the nastiest glare I think I've ever seen. And I think she like disappeared a couple seconds later, and that's that's where I woke up, and that's it. I don't know why. I knew it was a ghost, but like it was freaky.
Yeah, I would never paranormally investigate things. Even as a skeptic, like I'm terrified of ghosts, man.
Valid.
Yeah. I was like, I love horror and everything, but I would never want to be in a real life situation.
I mean, like on top of like having nightmares, I've also had like plenty of paranormal experiences since I was a kid too. Like that shit's like super scary.
You know where else I've seen shadows? When my bird died, I kept seeing bird flying around my house.
Oh, he checking on you.
And I was like, sweetie, that was her name. I was like, yeah, but
she was checking on you. And then I've had a couple of dreams with these two because we just talked about them. I've had a few dreams where me and Kimberly are on, because we watch Sam and Colby so much. I've dreamt that we've been on paranormal investigations with those two nerds. And like I every time I wake up, I'm like, God, I really wish we could do that, because I know we'd have so much fun. Because they do take it seriously, but there's also like a lot of really fun parts, like funny moments and stuff like that. And I just know that we would have a fucking blast with those two.
Like as much as I would like to go on like ghost hunting and stuff like that, I know I can't because of how dark it is, and I'm just like, man, I could barely see in the light. You want me to like go
Sam, Colby,
it?
DM me Semi-Pro Eagle on Twitter. Let's go fucking ghost hunting. I want to do the Estes method.
I don't know. You gotta pay me a pretty penny to do some shit like that.
Yeah, you guys have to fly me out because I can't afford a ticket.
I gotta fly me out. You gotta take me out to dinner. You gotta buy me you gotta pay for therapy today. Like
you gotta pay for therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to those two because they're fucking great.
Yeah.
So like back to I guess the shadow people and stuff like that. I have had like 2 specific nightmares, and those are like they're one and the same, honestly, because like I've seen the man with the hat in both of them, and in one of them I had like friends over, and we were just like hanging out in the back, and I told them like, hey, if you guys like want more drinks, I'll go get them. And when I went inside, it was only like for a split fucking second. I came back out, and the whole entire group of my friends were basically like killed. Like some were like decapitated, some had like their chests ripped open and stuff like that. And I froze and I couldn't like process anything in the moment. But then it scared the shit out of me because the person was like right next to me. Like I could feel like their presence and stuff like that. They were right next to me, and I looked up and I couldn't see his face or anything, but all I could see was his mouth. And he just told me saying that like, you're gonna be next.
Oh.
And I remember like just fucking bolting, like running down the street of my neighborhood. And I remember looking back, and he's just like standing there. And he doesn't get closer, and I try to run far away, but there's like no distance between us anymore. Oh. And like that's when I wake up from that.
That's so creepy.
And there was this other one, which is I say it's similar because I had like all my friends over at my house, and it was the same house. That's like the 2-story the 2-story house, and everyone was over, and I don't remember what exactly we were doing, but I ended up going to my room to get some, and it's always like me leaving the room specifically when shit starts, and I hear everyone like screaming and like trying to run out of the house, and it wasn't until like I go towards like my closet and I feel someone like pull me in there, and I'm trying to get out, and they're like telling me to like, hey, no, like don't leave, stay in here. And we wait for a while before everything, there's no screens, there's like no anything anymore. It's like completely silent, and we both like run out of the house. And when I look back again, like I look up towards like the balcony of the house, and all I see is the man with the hat just standing there at the window.
Mm-mm.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, how tall was he? I've heard he's like seen as between 6 to 8 feet tall, is what I've heard. If you had to guess, how tall do you think he was?
I mean, I'm 5'1". Everyone's taller than me.
I know that,
I
but
can't guess the height, man.
I from what I've heard, he's either as tall as a doorway or he like goes up to your ceiling.
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's fucking freaky. I feel like it was like 7 foot tall.
That would, yeah, right there in the nice medium.
Yeah,
Great.
it's not like I hated it. Also, like with hallucinations, it was like in high school. Like I think it was junior year when I finally like returned from everything that had like happened with my family. I was put on medication for depression, and that shit made me hallucinate so much. I hated it because all I would see, like everyone to me looked like shadow people.
Oh fuck. Hell no.
Yeah, and I couldn't like make out their faces or anything. Like I had a very tough time in school because I was like, I did not know what was going on or like who was who at times, and I would just like kind of guess. And sometimes like I could make out who was who by the voice, but a lot of the times like their voices came out muffled or like distorted in some way.
Yeah. I went to the doctor because like I had really trouble sleep, like I had a lot of trouble sleeping because of sleep paralysis and nightmares. I just refused to go to sleep half the time. And like in college, like it was back to back. Like there was like one point where I was having sleep paralysis like every day. And yeah, then I heard that freaking sleeping pills just give you worse nightmares, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like this is supposed to help. Yeah, that's why I'm really scared of getting on medication, things like that mess with your brain.
Oh yeah, like medication has a huge side effect with your sleep.
Mm-hmm. So
and I also hated being on medication because it initially made me sleepy. So it would be fine before I had to go to bed because it would just knock me out completely. But it sucked because I had to take it every morning. And I would fall asleep in like my first period, and either I would completely fall asleep and my teacher had to like wake me up, or I would like daydream, and daydreaming was like worse because I could not tell like what was real and what wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I fucking remember either I would have like, fucking 2 monsters or like a monster and 2 fucking coffees just to keep myself awake.
That's probably not good for your heart.
No, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all because it made it worse because like with all that adrenaline, I also had like those fucking like shadow people basically everywhere. And it was to the point where like I broke down in the middle of the hallway.
Oh no.
God.
Yeah, and like they had to put my therapist, and that was like not great because that was supposed to be the day that she had off. And or like she wasn't supposed to see me that day because she had to reschedule.
But anyway, I did list a few things that I think we all had in common when it comes to dreams. Firstly, teeth falling out dreams.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those are the worst. Somehow my mom has not had
But
those dreams, and
for
I'm
mine,
jealous.
it wasn't even my teeth. It was a tiger's teeth coming out my
Yeah.
mouth.
Maybe you were the
What does
tiger.
that mean? Oh dang! I was a tiger. I'm like Finn from Adventure Time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think we've all had those dreams where your teeth fall out. My teeth fall out and then they grow back, and it happens over and over again, and it's ugh. I hate it because I can feel my tongue running over the gums where the teeth used to be. It's fucking,
Oh
ugh.
no.
I hate it.
Only cute on dogs.
Ugh. And then another one I know we all have is when you're dreaming that you're falling and you wake up on impact.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I've actually fallen off a couch having those kinds of dreams.
I've had
I've
so
never-
many of those.
Fucking
I've
sucks.
never actually fallen in person. I mean, like in real life, I'd only be falling in my dream.
And like you wake up and your heart's pounding and then you're like cold all over, like you're in a cold sweat. It's the worst.
Oh, I've had like so many instances where I had that sensation while dreaming, and I ended up like falling off the couch here, and I fucking like hit my knee.
Ow.
God. And then I did make note that lucid dreaming can cause sleep paralysis if you mess up on it, because people sometimes go into their dreams wanting to lucid dream, and you can accidentally make yourself have sleep paralysis by doing that.
The only time, like, I don't know if I go into dreaming trying to lucid dream, but you know, I do be having my little scenarios where I'm hanging out with my boyfriends from the Otome games I play.
Oh, what a mood.
It's a big mood. I'm playing one right now.
Yeah, so I'm just all like, I hope I dream of them, and then it's like, bam, nightmare, and I'm like, damn.
Damn, this
That's not what I asked for.
Sometimes it fucking happens to me too, and I'm like, no.
This is not what I
I don't
asked
like these. I just wanted snuggles. What the hell?
for. Literally. Oh, this isn't particularly like a nightmare situation, but I did this to address my sleep paralysis. It is kind of like a paranormal experience I had. I heard that. Well, I made an altar for my grandpa in my room because, you know, I just wanted his like, you know, vibes to protect me and stop the sleep paralysis, right? So I did that, and I took some shroomies to try to try and meditate, right? Like to help me meditate. And I remember, I just had him in my mind. I was like, I want to see my grandpa. I want to see what kind of messages he wants to give to me, right? So I'm like closing my eyes and trying to like ask him for help, like to help with my sleep paralysis because it was just so bad, you know? And I remember I kept seeing like, I closed my eyes and I kept seeing like mosaics of like the Virgin Mary. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to talk to this bitch. I said, I want to talk to my grandpa. Like,
Oh my god.
yeah. So I kept like,
How are you gonna talk to Mary like that?
so I kept trying to stare at different things in my room, trying to be like, no, like I'm tired of seeing this woman. Like, I'm not trying to see her. I'm trying to see my grandpa. And like, I remember I looked at my headboard on my bed, and like I saw my grandpa's face, and that freaked me out a little. And then I was messaging my homie at the time because she was also taking shroomies, and she was like, bro, let's go to the park and hang out. And I was like, okay. So we're hanging out, but then she starts kind of having like a panic attack because of all the, you know, things she's seeing. So I bring her back to my house and we're chilling in my living room, and she's just like, yeah, dude, like I feel a lot calmer here. Like I feel your mom's vibes like all over your house. Like my mom's really cozy and sweet. So we're just hanging out, and she's like, dude, like something's pulling me over here. By the way, I had not told her what had happened before we left to the park. And she's like, something's pulling me over here. And she like pulls out my grandpa's rosary. And then I was like, fuck, I know what he wants me to do.
Oh my god.
So when my grandpa would come visit us from Mexico, he would make us pray the rosary every night. So I was like, this motherfucker wants me to pray the rosary.
Jeez.
Like, and that's why you kept seeing the Virgin Mary.
Yeah. I put two and two together. I was like, oh. I was over here getting frustrated. Like, why do I keep saying the Virgin Mary? I don't want to see this. Like, I'm trying to talk to my grandpa. Like, you know? So, yeah. So for a week, I prayed the rosary with my mom. And by this time, I was still atheist. But my mom had been wanting to pray the rosary with me for a while. So I think it was more like, you need to go do this for your mom, like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for like a week, and like, yeah, my sleep paralysis has not been as scary since then. And I stopped having it like so often.
That's good at least.
Yeah. But I'm just all like, the power of shroomies. Do drugs, kids. I'm just kidding.
No. For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Exactly.
God.
Fucking amazing.
Fucking
I'm
hell.
talking about shiitake mushrooms, you know?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll make you see God.
Shiitake mushrooms with magic powder.
Oh my god.
They work if you believe.
Does anyone else have anything else they want to share?
Trying to remember. I know. You remember when Five Nights at Freddy's first came out?
Uh-huh.
So,
The collective.
so I've actually had they weren't nightmares because at some point during the dream I realized, oh no, this is just a dream. I could do whatever the fuck I want. But for whatever
Jeez.
reason, I was a security guard. And it's so interesting now seeing like the newer Five Nights at Freddy's where you do have that one animatronic that could kind of fly, quote unquote, through the building. Because I remember in my dream they could do that already. So when they announced the new Five Nights at Freddy's, like, these guys were in my dreams. Like, these bitches stole this idea from my dream I had years ago.
Maybe you and the creator of Five Nights at Freddy met on the astral plane and he stole your idea.
For
Oh my
real.
god.
Yeah, like the animatronics were
Wow,
flying, and I was
Scott,
just like,
that's not fucking cool.
I was so fucking scared for a second. I was just like, oh my god, like these shits are trying to kill me. But then later on, I realized, oh, this is just a dream. I could just fly around to avoid them.
I can't believe you lucid dreamt and you were like, I want to be a security guard. That's so
You
fucking-
manifested that shit, Loki.
I did.
Why you work as a security guard?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, recently, like, I told Lexi and Loki about like the fucking Resident Evil dream that I had. And
I love zombie dreams. They're so fun.
zombie dreams are really fun. Like, I like them to like a certain extent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would cry. I would cry. I'm a bitch.
Like, this is also another one of those like detailed dreams where like I was hanging out with Leon and we were going back to his place, but he sensed like something was off, so he wanted to go check, and I was just like waiting in the living room, and he said there was a little kid sleeping in his bed, and he told me to like go in there with him. So when he goes like checks the rest of the house, and I'm trying to like wake this kid up because it's like, why are they here? Two, why are they asleep?
Why do you snooze?
And it's like I hear him coming back upstairs, and I peek out and I see that he has like another little kid with him, and a fucking zombie is like right behind him. He's able to shoot it down, and then I see a different zombie like coming towards the room. So I'm trying to like wake up this kid, like hurry up and wake up, but he doesn't want to like wake up. And it isn't until like I pull them towards the corner of the room and I put them behind me, and like the zombies like coming towards us, that Leon's able to like shoot it down again. So we're all trying to like run outside of the house, but there's like a zombie that's on the floor. And I just like assume it's from like the other one. And they're able to like grab my leg, and like I can feel their hand around my, and it's I fucking hated it. But I'm able to like stomp on their head, and the thing is, like, it's gross because I could feel it under my like foot. It's fucking disgusting because like I was able to feel it and hear it like squish.
Gross.
I don't know why, but there's like another detail, like we're in the car, we're trying to like get away from everything, and I look back at the two kids and they have like a walkie-talkie. I don't know why this stood out to me either, but they had a walkie-talkie that was like bright yellow, and the logo on the back was the words like nightmare, and it was in red lettering, and like the rest of like the accents on the walkie-talkie was also red, like a blood red.
Freaking red pill shit, man. Like they were like logged. They like downloaded a nightmare into your system, and like they forgot to take out that little label. They're like, oh shit.
It's so weird. It reminds me of Child's Play, because you know like the boxes are like yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that. But like at the end of the fucking dream, we're just like going over a horde of zombies.
That's just so funny though that it's just like nightmare. By the way, if you didn't know,
This is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like thank you.
Just
Like
so
it
you
wasn't
know.
that obvious, you know.
Oh, cool.
Just so you know, little heads up.
I think
If
the last
zombies biting your ankles didn't tell
Solidify that.
I think the last one I can share that's not a sleep paralysis story was the earliest nightmare I can remember. I was like in first grade, and I remember I was being chased by the Grim Reaper, and he caught me. He caught me, but he started tickling me, and I freaking hated being tickled as a kid. And so I woke up with the sensation of someone tickling me, and I remember being like, like I hate it. So, yeah.
That's actually kind of cute, though.
I was
You're not
very,
supposed to be scared of the Grim Reaper. He's just there to escort you to the afterlife.
but I hated being tickled, so it was terrifying for me.
You know what? Valid. It's funny though.
No, yeah, I'm just like, what an innocent little like child nightmare.
No.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, like most children have like innocent type of nightmares at some point.
It's like, damn.
But yeah, I attribute most of my nightmares and sleep paralysis to trauma. And
same.
because the succubus nightmare was during my really toxic relationship, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, también, like, I've been visited by an incubus too. Bisexual teens, you know?
Let's fucking go.
Yes, I fucked him too, but this time I was single, so it was okay.
I mean, it was okay the last time because your ex was toxic, so I mean.
Oh my god. His pee-pee hurt.
Oh my god.
It felt like shards, dude, like shards of glass. It did not feel
gross.
Yeah,
Ouch.
and then I was like, you know what? Maybe you're not a demon. Yeah, and then I woke up in sleep paralysis, and I remember thinking that time, like, fuck, I fell for it again.
Oh, amazing.
God. Well, that's all the dreams I can think of.
Yeah,
For
that's
now.
just a glimpse into my subconscious, I guess.
Oh boy.
I'm a monster fucker.
Same.
Let's fucking go. Same.
Monster fucker IRL. Okay, none of this. Y'all are all talk. I'm for real.
Maybe if I manifest it hard enough.
Just put it in your
Like
manifestation.
you gotta be careful with that.
Hey, you know what? The incubus one wasn't too bad. That one was fine after. I mean, sleep paralysis. I saw a little shadow person pinning me down. It's fine. But like at that point, I'm just used to like sleep paralysis. That I was just like, this whole thing, you know?
It's like the run of the mill, you know?
Yeah. It's just not scary.
This is normal.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
It's like another Tuesday.
Yeah, literally.
It's fine. This is fine.
I'm not even scared of the dark anymore.
Is that it for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember. I think the last thing I texted you, Kimmy, was the other day where I was dreaming. Okay. When I was thinking about it, I kind of remember the dream. I know I was with Chris and we were in some sort of building. I just remember it was dark outside. I want to say it wasn't just any building. I think it was like how my aunt's house used to look back in the day in Tijuana. And I remember sometimes you would just peek out and it would be so dark. But for whatever reason, like sometimes when I would look out the window, I would always just see these eyes watching, right? And you could tell I could only just see the eyes, and the eyes were fucking creepy. Like they were mostly all white with like black dots, like as the pupils.
Oh,
Oh no.
And I remember I'd always just stare out, and if I would see the eyes, I would tell everybody in the house, "All right, it's time to close the blinds." And I just remember the next time looking out the window, and then Chris comes up to me. He's like, "So do we have to close the blinds tonight?" I'm like, "Oh," and I tell him like something along the lines like, "I don't see anything. I don't feel anybody seeing us. We don't have to close the blinds tonight." And then I wake up, and I'm just like,
Oh no.
I have to sleep with the blinds shut.
Somebody's watching me.
for real.
Oh, this is why like I'm so glad there's blinds in the living room now. It's like I felt so exposed without them.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
Gross,
Not-
dude.
Ghost things with like people being weird.
Yeah.
We live kind of somewhat. We do have neighbors, but like we live out of town. Like, so
Oh,
there's
no.
some trees and stuff around us, so that's fun.
Yeah.
I think the most you would have to worry about, Kimberly, is the raccoon peeking in that we have coming in
The
on the
little
deck.
raccoon. He made a mess.
He makes a mess all the time, but he peeking. He just getting a late night snack.
He's a good boy. It's okay.
He's been eating well too because he's fat.
Yeah.
He's chunky.
I love raccoons and their little hands.
Same.
You give him some popcorn, dude.
Oh no, I don't want rabies.
No, you don't give it to him by hand. You just like toss it right there. Give.
Then what's the fun?
Where's the fun?
I don't want
Where's
to
the
risk
fun
it.
if there's no risk?
Risk it for the biscuit.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right.
Oh well, let's
So is that gonna be it for
Yes.
us?
Yeah. I'm good.
Alrighty.
Well, little spooks, that's going to be it for us today.
All right. Well, join us tomorrow as we play a game on the podcast, like our first ever game. We are going to be playing Fuck, Marry, Kill with Loki. Loki's also going to be on that episode.
Yeah. I am a certified monster.
We're going to be playing that with basically like horror icons or like anyone in horror, honestly. So, and Adam and Diane will also be on there.
Yay.
Sweet. Don't forget to rate us and tap that bell icon on Spotify so you don't miss an episode. If you want to follow the Guarded by Demons socials, we're on Twitter at Guarded Demons. And we're also on Anchor, YouTube, and Instagram at Guarded by Demons. And we also have an email, guardeddemonpod@gmail.com. If you want to write in and suggest some topics, movies, or games that we could play, or just tell us how we did. Be nice about it. I will cry if you're not.
Yes, because you have full control of the Gmail. So, do you guys want to plug anything?
I have both my Twitch and Twitter at Ice Queen Loki.
I would like to plug in shiitake mushrooms. That'll help you see God. Thank you.
Oh, also, before we get to our socials, I do want to give a podcast recommendation because I listened to it recently as we're recording, and seems how this is about sleep. I want to recommend The Edge of Sleep by Wood Elf Productions. I listened to it recently. It was really good. Wear headphones for it because it's got binaural audio. If you also like Markiplier, he's the star of it. It's really good.
Nice.
I won't give a synopsis because I don't want to spoil anything. Just go in blind. Listen to it. That shit's awesome.
All right. Well, once again, I'm Kimberly, and if you want to follow me on my personal accounts, I am the lesbian on Twitter and Spooky Scary Lesbian on Twitch and Tumblr. I play some horror games on Twitch, and when this premieres in October, I will be playing Five Nights at Freddy's with Lexi.
Woo!
We tested it out the other day, and we only did like night one for all of them, right?
Yeah.
I started freaking out. I actually like screamed in the first one because like I didn't have one earphone in, so I didn't hear Foxy coming in on the other side.
No.
So that one made me scream.
I didn't even hear anything. It still freaked me out.
And then and the second one, the puppet almost came out, and I was like, no, fuck no.
Back in there, you little bastard.
The third one was okay because I only have like 1, 2, and sister location. I'm not looking forward to sister location. But also, if you like ASMR, I have an ASMR channel, and it's called Spooky Scary ASMR on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and also look into the description because that's where I will post all the links.
Hell yeah. I'm Lexi. If you want to follow me on Twitch, it's at SemiProEagle, where I play a variety of games. And I do draw. As of recording, I've been playing Skyrim, but this is in October.
We are going to be playing the Quarry on your channel.
And God knows what I'll be drawing by then. So right here in August, I've been drawing Stray OC because Stray has taken over my life, and I fucking love it. It's adorable. But yeah, and that's it for me.
All right, guys. Stay spooky.